Hi guys!
Hi, I'm Pandora Poison and this is Revilo.
Hi guys!
This is, we wanted to do a video on advice for people who want to be alternative models or any model. In that case,
Model advice.
Model advice. 101.
Dun dun dun.
Done. I don't know if you've got asked quite a lot of questions lately, but I've been getting asked questions quite a lot on my Twitter, Facebook and everything else about how do you become a model or how do you get paid. Well, that isn't like a one easy answer to explain. There's several different factors.
Really, you should we start off with how we start off.
Yeah.
Basically, you do have to get yourself a good portfolio together. It's not easy, it really isn't, especially starting out as a new type model.
Yeah.
But you really do need to go out and find different photographers, don't you? You know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just you've got to go on different websites, contact people. It's all about contacts. That's what
Yeah.
it's about.
I think with the modern world of the internet, there's so much potential out there if you utilise it properly. Because years ago, there was more demand for models and photographers because there wasn't the internet. You know, you had to go for agencies or bookings and things. Now on the internet, it's so easy.
One click away.
One click away. How I started off was that I actually got in contact with friends who were photography students. If you just want just find out what it's like to be in front of a camera and get used to it and see how you get along with it, the best thing to do is just ask around for photography friends. And it's really good if you're a young person as well attending college, because there'll always be photography students around and that anyway. And that's usually a good way. That's how I started really. And then a synthetic doll on YouTube actually suggested Model Mayhem, so I joined up on there.
Good site.
Good site.
Recommended. That's where we all start.
www.modelmayhem.com. I went on there February last year, so I've almost been doing it for a year now, and it's just helped me so much.
It helps get your name out there, you know. 'Cause
Yeah.
sometimes you're just like, oh god, what do I do? And not only that, you should also get yourself Twitter pages, Facebook pages. It's
Yeah.
all about just get your face out there.
It's a lot of hard work being on the internet all the time, but just keep on pumping out your pictures and things all the time, and it's almost like self-promotion, you know. You do start getting somewhere eventually. And there's purpleport.com as well and purestorm.com. I'm on all three of them. They all both have their good and bad points, but
They do indeed.
They do help.
When I first joined Purple Point, I think one of my pictures got to the front page of the actual thing.
What?
And I was just
What? How?
yeah, no, our
Super
friend,
jealous.
slash photographer, Tasha Deering, she
Oh, she's
literally linked
brilliant.
me
I
to
love
it,
her.
and I was just like, what?
How did that happen?
See what? How did that happen?
Jealous.
You know, it's just little things like that make you feel a bit, ooh, and plus you're getting out there and new, you know.
Last time I went on your Purpleport account, but you said your account has been deactivated.
Did it?
Yeah, it's not there anymore apparently.
Oh, apparently I'm not that active. It's all going wrong.
I can't find your profile anymore.
I'm gonna have to
You're gonna have
find
to,
it.
You're gonna have to find it and see what happens, because
Yeah.
I can't find you anymore. But things like that are absolutely brilliant, and get in touch with photography friends and students. If you haven't done any modelling at all and you go on those sites, the best thing to do is to get a clear picture of a profile shot, a side shot, and a full body shot, even just like that, just so photographers know what you look like and they know what
Your shapes,
they're
your
working with.
facial expressions,
Yeah.
and your jaw lands and all that jazz.
Yeah, and the good thing is to do load of what they call pre-work. That is called TF or TFP, time for or time for print, which means you give up your free time for pictures to develop your portfolio. And I did loads of that, loads to build up your portfolio. And that's when you start getting the magazine, people interested, or people wanting to pay you and all that kind of stuff.
Even in the very, what's the word?
Sort of fashion.
Mainstream, that's it.
Editorial,
The very
that sort of
mainstream
thing.
fashion, you can still have a very alternative model in catalogues.
It's
you know?
like Rick Ging, Zombie Boy. He's been in loads of fashion stuff, and he's been in Germany's Next Top Model. You know, they've been on catwalks and things. So, I mean, you don't have to. I mean, Ollie is tall and skinny, but you don't have to be tall and
Don't
skinny.
have to. It's not always about your body shape and your height. You can be curvy. You can have whatever shape, but you have to work it. You have to make it work. Otherwise, when you're standing there, just like, me standing there like that, that's not really attractive, is it?
You need to be confident in yourself, and I think I really need to give massive advice for young girls. If you're underage, don't do anything nude. It applies,
Don't
it's
do
okay.
it.
Don't do it until you're old enough. But when you are old enough, be seriously bloody careful, because
And seriously think about it, and make sure you bring people with you.
Yes.
Number one rule: never, ever, ever go to any kind of photographer, even if they're free or whatever. Make sure you have someone with you.
yeah, I'm not always good at following that advice, but I always bring someone when I can.
Or
You know.
in an open area.
Yeah,
Be
in an
safe.
open area. Just always keep safe. Let people know where you are and what you're up to. And even if you're not, like, if you're on your own, make sure there's a friend close by. You can just text them in an emergency, and make sure people know where you are. And,
Just make sure the guy or the girl isn't a creep.
yeah,
Basically.
I haven't. You've heard so many horror stories.
Yeah, I have, and I was just like,
Oh my god.
I'm gonna get stabbed.
I haven't had anything horrible happen to me yet, but I have had photographers becoming too over friendly, and they want to get onto you and they want to start kissing you and
Say
being your boyfriend.
No, back off.
God,
I don't think so, girl.
No. So, I have. I'm not talking to them anymore, thankfully, but you do need to be careful about it, and like I
Be
do.
safe, guys. Be safe.
Apart from alternative, I do like nude and lingerie and fetish and stuff, but obviously I don't do anything too
She doesn't do
explicit.
anything pornish.
I do
put
do
it that
anything
way.
pornish.
She
but
does it in a artistic way.
Yeah, sort of artistically being tied up. I don't know how that works.
Artistic tarts. But no, she's not sitting there flashing bits out or, through it and going, this
No.
is classy.
Some of it kind of is, but I think it's
Yeah, but
kind
again, like you said, it's like fetish.
Yeah,
It's got something to do with it. You're not sitting there and actually just sitting in a magazine going,
no. I think it's like I think my style is quite Suicide Girls, Deep and Von Tees. It's quite on the edge, but not quite. Does
she's
that
taking
make any
modelling
sense?
to the limits, guys. She ain't no pussy.
But if you start getting to similar sort of things, obviously, make sure you're old enough. You need to be so careful, and you need to seriously think about it, because, especially if any pictures end up on the internet, once it's out there, it's out there.
It's
you
leaked.
can't take it back. You can delete all the pictures all you like, but
Some weirdo's going to
someone's
save
it and
somewhere.
if you become famous or get a job or something like that, it can hinder it later on. And like, I'm aware that maybe later on when I get a job, if I get well known for something else, like my music or my art, then it might cause issues. But I've accepted it, so I'm prepared for it. But you seriously need to think about it. If you're not comfortable with it sort of causing issues later, or you're worried about what's going to happen later in life, if someone's going to say, you need to be careful and try and be as open as communities with your family as much as possible. Like, I've only just started doing it now. It's taken such a long time because I'm so worried about telling people.
Scared and stuff.
But
It is a big thing, though.
it is. It's difficult, but if you can, just try and tell people.
Be open, don't close it up, because when people find out, it'll be like a massive shock to them, and you're just like sitting there like,
Yeah.
whatever.
Obviously, be so careful about it, and like, even if you're a boy, you can be in massive trouble if you're a guy. So
It doesn't matter, gender, just gotta be careful.
yeah, in general, that's all I can say really. I mean,
I think that's all about wrapped it up, like with what we're trying to say. It's just
Yeah.
mainly be careful, get a good portfolio together, and I think that you're on your way. It's just as long as you get your face out there and work hard at it, don't
Yeah.
stop. Like literally with the model business, you cannot stop.
it's constant.
As soon as you
It's-
stop, people are going to be like, who's that? Don't know that. You need to go, go, go.
Well, yeah, it's quite hard to work, but you think you've got to really have passion for it and enjoy it to keep up with it, and it is quite demanding. It's almost like another job in itself.
It is, even if
You
it
know?
can just be a hobby, it's still quite hard work. It's just like, people. They want me all the time, not in a vain way there, but you know, it is hard when people are like, can you come to this date? We've got a set date for this, you need to come then because it's going to get all cancelled.
Or you get loads of people can I work with you? I like to work with you. I like to work with you as much as you love to work with everyone. You can't all the time, you know.
There's a limit, guys.
Or sometimes you can, but it just takes a long time to get around to everyone. It's just so much planning. And part of, I suppose, being a model is like if you're a plus size model or if you're quite having been quite curvy, then obviously it doesn't matter. But like figure out what kind of modelling you want to do. Whether do you want to do pin-up, do you want to do alternative, do you want to do editorial, commercial, fitness,
Give yourself a list
sports
of
type
what you want to
modelling.
do.
Figure out or fetish, or figure out what you want to do. My main things are alternative, horror, fetish, pin-up, and gothy.
I love
my
pin-up.
sort of thing.
Favourite modelling.
What sort of things do you do?
I kind of like all the retro stuff, so very retro. I love like mature fashion, like over the top OTT fashion. But also
Lady
like,
Gaga fashion.
basically, yeah. But I also do like just trendy fashion or fashion. I'm very fashion forward, put it that way. I'm very much into the whole style.
I'm more than happy to do any and every style that's out there. If there's any commercial or editorial people who just want someone who's a bit doesn't really necessarily want like maybe like what they usually use to booking, then I'm quite
model. What? Who's it dead?
It's like I do glamour as well, but I don't have the tall, skinny, tanned, blonde, beach babe glamour look, but I can.
Yeah, but like,
I can model
different?
glamour. I can model glamour though. So, you know, I don't have that other, but I can do it.
She's here, you should book her. Book her now.
Book him too.
What is this?
I don't
I don't even know. Right.
That is, what else is it? Just figure out what it is you want to do. Things like looking after your skin is quite important. Have a good skin. Exfoliating, moisturising, and sort of maybe like keeping your hair up. Like I've got massive roots on
I had
top of my
roots,
head.
but I topped them up the other night.
I need to I'm going to top them up in a few days, but you know, just things like that. Just look after your nails and skin and them, and just basic things, and you'll.
Keep up your appearance. Groom, guys, groom.
Groom.
You'll be fine. Just groom.
Right.
I think that wraps it up.
Yeah.
Or anything else?
Only thing I will say is that when people start asking you how much you want to be paid, or you think, basically, you know when it's a good time to start charging, is when loads of people want to work with you for free, and you don't think quite as many are able to match your portfolio. Once you've got a portfolio you're happy with, and you don't really want to work with someone who you don't necessarily think will benefit your portfolio. It's quite cruel, but you kind of have to do it. So that's when you kind of know you need to charge. But
make sure you cover your travels and make sure you cover I don't know, just general stuff, getting home, but also after that make sure you've got a little bit of money that you've earned. So make sure your travel's covered plus a little bit more, just so
definitely.
you're actually earning something from it.
Yeah, absolutely. And even if you do TF shoots, if a photographer really wants you to travel to him, he should at least pay expenses if it's free, at least, you know. And then, also when you start charging, don't charge too much too quick. I'm not charging that much at the moment, only very low. And if you charge too much too quickly, then it will put people off. Basically, they'll go, like too much money, I'm out of here, you know. And also be careful that when you do nude, especially if you do it for TF to begin with, or just be so careful because there's going to be so many bastards out there that are going to go bastards. So many people out there who's going to go right, she's willing to take clothes off for free. Just be so careful and research and look for the references. It's no harm in asking the references. What is it like working with this person?
Yeah, like fellow models and stuff like that.
And make sure they've got a really good, strong portfolio and those references and things, and
just
make sure you bring
get
someone with you.
I mean, it has it sounds, but get as much dirt on them as possible, just so you know you're safe.
Because there's photographers and then there's perverts with cameras.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a lot of people that.
And especially if you're starting out and you've just been on one of those free websites you mentioned, you're going to get loads of people trying to take advantage of you, and you really have to try and keep your head screwed on. You know, if you really cut to the whole thing, you can just stay clothed the whole time until you become more established. That's another way of going about it. Wait until later. Yeah.
Just don't,
Yeah.
do stupid things.
Right.
Okay.
Right. I'll see you later. I'll leave links to all my Facebook, Instagram, Twitter,
social networking
Twitter.
sites.
Yeah, and all that shit. And I'll leave all that stuff to Revilo Glass.
Glah. mates.
Okay. My pronunciation is horrible. And Revilo Glass links and everything else. And if there's any more questions or anything you want us to do or cover, just let me know. I'd love to do more videos. Got loads more videos coming up.
Love you.
Oh, love you.
Bye.
Bye.